Picture this. You're sitting at your desk, it's a Tuesday night, maybe 11 p.m. You've got your brokerage app open, you scroll down to your total portfolio value, and you see it. $15,000. Not $100. Not $1,000. $15,000. And you feel something weird, something you didn't expect. It's not pure excitement. It's not that dopamine rush you got when you first hit $1,000. It's something more complicated than that. It's like a mix of pride, pressure, and a quiet voice in the back of your head saying, "Okay, now what?" Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Everyone talks about starting. Everyone makes the video about opening your first brokerage account, buying your first stock, putting in your first $500. That content is everywhere. But almost nobody talks about what happens after you've already been doing this for a while. After you've survived your first crash. After you've made your first real mistake. After the money starts becoming actually significant. $15,000 is that inflection point. And I know that because I lived it. I remember exactly what changed when I crossed that number, and I remember being completely unprepared for how much it would shift. Not just my portfolio, but my thinking, my habits, my relationships, and honestly, my entire identity around money. So today, we're going deep. This isn't a beginner video. This is for the people who are already in the game and want to understand what's really happening at this level, and what you need to do differently to make sure $15,000 becomes $50,000, then $150,000, then beyond. Let's get into it. When the numbers start hitting different, the first thing that changes at $15,000 is purely mathematical, and it hits you like a truck the first time you really feel it. When you had $500 invested and the market dropped 5%, you lost $25. Painful emotionally? Maybe. But $25 is a dinner out. It's fine. You barely felt it in your actual life. When you have $15,000 invested and the market drops 5%, you just lost $750 in a single day. Without doing anything. Without making a single decision. You woke up, made your coffee, opened your app, and $750 was just gone. Temporarily, yes, but gone. And here's what most people don't understand. Your brain does not process percentage losses. It processes absolute losses. Your nervous system doesn't care that it was only 5%. It sees $750 and it panics. It triggers the same stress response as losing $750 in cash from your wallet. This is the first real psychological test of your investing journey. Can you hold? Can you stay rational when the number looks big enough to actually hurt? A lot of people fail this test not because they're weak, but because they were never warned it was coming. They handled the small drops fine, thought they had iron hands, and then the first real correction at $15,000 had them selling at the bottom, locking in losses, and swearing off investing for 6 months. Don't be that person. Understand right now that the emotional difficulty of volatility scales with your portfolio size, not your experience. You have to consciously train your mindset to think in percentages, not dollars. That mental shift is non-negotiable. The compounding effect becomes real. And visible here is where the good news comes in. And this is genuinely exciting once you wrap your head around it. At $500, compound interest is almost invisible. You're earning returns on basically nothing. Even a phenomenal 20% annual return on $500 is only $100. Big deal. But at $15,000, a 10% annual return, historically pretty normal for a broad index fund, is $1,500 in a year, without you doing a single extra thing, without you working an extra hour, without you sacrificing anything. $1,500 is rent for a lot of people. $1,500 is a flight to Japan. $1,500 is 3 months of groceries. Your money is now generating the equivalent of real, tangible things, passively. That's the moment compounding stops being a concept you read about in a finance book and starts being something you actually feel. And it only gets more dramatic from here. Because at $15,000, you're also at the stage where your contributions start to matter less than your growth. Think about that. When you were at $1,000, putting in $200 a month was massive. That was a 20% increase in your portfolio. But at $15,000, that same $200 contribution is barely 1.3%. The engine of your wealth is slowly transferring from your labor, your savings, your hustle, to your capital itself. This is what wealthy people understand that broke people don't. At some point, your money works harder than you do. You're approaching that point. You need to respect it. Nakrutsagar. Your allocation decisions now actually matter at $500, honestly. It doesn't matter that much whether you're 100% in an S&P 500 index fund or spread across 5 different ETFs. The difference in outcome is marginal. You're learning, you're building habits. The money is almost secondary. At $15,000, your allocation decisions start to have real consequences. Let's say you went heavy into a single sector, tech for example, because it was hot in 2023 and 2024. If that sector corrects 30%, you just lost $4,500. Meanwhile, someone with a more diversified approach might have only lost $1,800. That difference matters. That difference changes timelines. This is the stage where you need to sit down and get serious about a few things. First, what is your actual time horizon? Are you investing for something 3 years away or 30? Because those are completely different strategies. Money you'll need in 3 years has no business being 100% in equities. Money you won't touch for 30 years can probably afford to be aggressive. Second, are you actually diversified or do you just think you are? A lot of investors own 5 different ETFs and feel diversified. But when they actually look at the holdings, 80% of each ETF is the same 20 large cap stocks. That's not diversification. That's the illusion of diversification. At $15,000, you need to audit your actual exposure. Third, what's your risk tolerance? Really? Not in theory, not on a questionnaire. In practice, when you lost money during the last correction, how did you feel? What did you want to do? Your real risk tolerance is revealed by your behavior under pressure, not your answers to hypothetical questions. The tax conversation you've been avoiding. Nobody wants to talk about taxes. It's boring, it's complicated, and it feels like a problem for people with more money than you. Here's the reality. $15,000 is exactly when you need to start paying attention to tax strategy, because the decisions you make right now will either cost you or save you thousands of dollars over the next decade. The most critical concept at this stage is the difference between a tax-advantaged account and a taxable brokerage account. If you're investing $15,000 in a regular taxable brokerage account while you haven't maxed out your ISA, your Roth IRA, your PEA, or whatever tax advantage vehicle exists in your country, you are leaving free money on the table. Full stop. The math is brutal. Let's say you're in a 20% capital gains tax bracket. Over 20 years, the difference between investing inside a tax advantage wrapper versus outside one could easily be $20,000, $30,000, even more, just from the drag of paying taxes on gains every year. At $15,000, you also need to start thinking about tax loss harvesting. This is the practice of strategically selling positions at a loss to offset gains elsewhere. It sounds counterintuitive. Why would you want to sell something at a loss? But done correctly, it can reduce your tax bill significantly without meaningfully changing your long-term investment exposure. This isn't advanced stuff. This is table stakes at the $15,000 level. If you haven't already, talk to a tax professional or, at minimum, do a deep dive on the specific rules in your country. This is one of the highest ROI activities you can do at this stage of your journey. Your social life starts to get complicated. This one doesn't get talked about enough, and it's one of the most real psychological shifts that happens when your portfolio starts to grow. When you had nothing invested, money was simple. Everyone around you was also spending freely, going out, buying things, living paycheck to paycheck, and you were doing the same. No friction. But now you've got $15,000 sitting and compounding, and every time you spend $100 on a night out, a part of your brain is doing the math. That's $100 that could have been in the market. Over 30 years at 10%, that's over $1,700. And that's where things get tricky. Some people overcorrect and become obsessive. They stop enjoying life entirely. They become that person at the dinner table who silently calculates the future value of every shared appetizer. That's not a life. That's a prison you've built for yourself with a finance calculator. Other people go the opposite direction. They feel guilty about their growing portfolio when their friends are struggling. So they start overspending to fit in, to not seem like they're pulling away, to keep things normal. And they quietly sabotage their own progress. The balance you're looking for is this: build a life you genuinely enjoy, that you can afford on your income excluding your investment contributions. Your investments are not a sacrifice fund. They are a separate engine running in the background. Learn to stop seeing them as money you're not spending and start seeing them as a completely separate category. The people who build real wealth are not the ones who deprive themselves of everything. They're the ones who design their life intentionally, choosing what genuinely matters to them, spending freely on that, and cutting ruthlessly on everything that doesn't. The income problem that $15,000 reveals. Here's something uncomfortable that $15,000 will show you if you're paying attention. At this level, your investment returns, let's say 10% a year, so $1,500, are almost certainly less than what you could generate by increasing your income by even a small amount. Let's put real numbers on this. If you got a raise of $200 a month, $2,400 a year, that's more than your entire annual portfolio return at $15,000. A small freelance project on the weekend, a negotiation conversation with your boss, an online course that increases your skill value. This does not mean investing doesn't matter. It absolutely does. Your $15,000 is the foundation of something that will eventually grow much larger than your salary. But it does mean that right now, in 2025 and 2026, your highest leverage financial activity might not be optimizing your portfolio allocation. It might be working on your income. The people who grow from $15,000 to $100,000 the fastest are almost always the ones who attacked both sides simultaneously. They invested consistently and they aggressively grew their income. They understood that a $500 a month increase in savings rate, invested over 5 years, is a complete game changer. Look at your income honestly. Are you being paid what you're worth? Are there skills you could develop in the next 12 months that would command a meaningfully higher salary or hourly rate? Are there side income streams available to you that you've been putting off because you were too comfortable? $15,000 is a success, but it shouldn't make you complacent. It should make you hungrier. How your relationship with risk needs to evolve. When you first started investing, you had a simple relationship with risk. You had almost nothing to lose, so you could theoretically be aggressive. High risk, high reward plays didn't matter much if they went wrong because the absolute loss was small. At $15,000, that calculus changes. You now have enough money that a catastrophic loss, Putting your entire portfolio into a speculative asset that goes to zero, for example, would genuinely set you back by years, not months, years. This doesn't mean you need to become conservative overnight. It means you need to become intentional about risk. Here's a framework that works at this level. Think of your portfolio in buckets. Your core bucket, probably 70 to 80% of your portfolio, should be in things you genuinely believe in long term, that are diversified, that you could hold through a 40% drawdown without losing sleep. Index funds, broad ETFs, whatever your equivalent is. Your growth bucket, maybe 15 to 20%, can be more aggressive. Individual stocks, sector bets, international exposure, whatever you believe has above average return potential. Higher risk, but capped exposure. Your speculative bucket, and this is optional, can be 5% or less in genuinely high-risk plays. Crypto, individual small caps, whatever. The key is the cap. If this bucket goes to zero, your financial life doesn't change significantly. That's the whole point. Most investors fail not because they took risks, but because they took uncapped risks. The bucket system gives you permission to participate in upside while protecting your core. The identity shift. Nobody prepares you for. This might be the most important section of this entire video, and it's the most abstract, so stay with me. When your net worth was under $5,000, your financial identity was probably built around scarcity, around getting by, around trying to save a little here and there and hoping it adds up someday. At $15,000, you are now objectively ahead of the majority of your peers. Studies consistently show that a huge portion of adults in developed countries have almost no investment savings. You are not in that group anymore. And that identity shift from person trying to get ahead to person who is actually ahead is deeply uncomfortable for a lot of people. Because with it comes responsibility. You can no longer tell yourself you don't know enough, or that you'll start being serious about this later. You're already in it. The decisions you make right now over the next 2 to 5 years will have compounding consequences for the next 20 to 30 years. The investors who make it from $15,000 to $100,000 are the ones who accepted that identity shift consciously. They said, I am someone who manages money well. I am someone who thinks long term. I am someone who doesn't panic sell, who doesn't chase hype, who doesn't blow their portfolio on FOMO plays. That identity, stated and repeated and lived out, that's what keeps you consistent when the market crashes. That's what keeps you investing when it feels pointless. That's what keeps you from waking up at 45 wondering where all the money went. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems and your identity. Build both deliberately. What comes next? So here's where we land. $15,000 is real money. It deserves real strategy. It deserves your attention, your education, and a clear-eyed look at everything we covered today. You need to manage your psychology around volatility. Think percentages, not dollars. You need to start actually feeling the power of compounding and use that feeling as motivation. You need to audit your allocation and make sure it actually matches your risk tolerance and time horizon. You need to get serious about taxes before they quietly eat your gains. You need to navigate the social complexity of growing wealth without either isolating yourself or sabotaging your progress. You need to work on income as aggressively as you work on investing. You need a risk framework that gives you structure without killing your upside. And you need to consciously accept the identity of someone who takes their financial future seriously. None of this is complicated, but all of it is easy to avoid. The people who do the work at $15,000 look back from $500,000 and they understand exactly why they made it. And the people who didn't, they look back and they see every decision, every shortcut, every moment of laziness or fear, and they understand why they didn't. You're here. You're watching this. You're thinking about it. That already puts you ahead. Now go do the work.